Welcome to the AI Applied podcast. I'm your host, Jaden Schaefer. Each week, I cover breaking AI news, tools, and interview experts giving you actionable tips on applying AI into your career, job, workflows, and life. Make sure that you go to aibox.ai, link in the show notes, to join the waitlist for our new AI platform. We're going to be launching an incredible platform that allows you to build anything you want with workflows in AI. So you're able to chain together ChatGPT and image generators and audio generators to make really powerful apps for your organization, or you can host them on our marketplace and actually generate royalties from them. So make sure to go to aibox.ai and join the waitlist. In addition, if you like the podcast, if you could do me a massive favor and please leave us a review on Apple or Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast. This helps me be able to get better guests on here as they check the reviews to see how you guys are liking it. So if you could please do that, I would really appreciate it. With all the different industries that ChatGPT and AI are currently disrupting, I think one of the very most interesting use cases I have heard to date is in car sales. So recently, there's an article that came out on Axios that says AI and ChatGPT are selling cars in the metaverse. And instantly when I saw that, I was, pretty intrigued. So on the podcast today, we're going to jump into what exactly is happening. Are people buying cars in the metaverse? Are these physical cars? And we'll get to the bottom of all of this. So I think the first thing to know is that, car shopping is going to get a lot easier. People are going to start doing it from their own home based off of this new technology that's being displayed. And it's all thanks to VR and ChatGPT. So I think what is essentially happening is that Fiat and Kia are both trying to, be super forward thinking and revolutionizing, the car buying experience. And they've both introduced metaverse dealerships. So both of the automakers they're pretty much the first companies to identify a really practical business application for this. And it's interesting, essentially what's happening is the Fiat Metaverse store, which was unveiled in January at CES. They developed it in collaboration with Microsoft and a software firm called TouchCast. But what's interesting is customers don't actually need a VR headset or, any avatar or to be in VR to have this. It's all pretty much integrated into a Microsoft Teams, which again is interesting because I've used this in the past for a job. I had, this is like Slack, so it's just such an interesting place to be going and using this, in my opinion. In any case, essentially customers are able to interact virtually with a human or artificial, it's called a Fiat genius, who can answer any questions you would have about Fiat's cars in real time. And it's just, powered by ChatGPT pretty much. So it's kind of like a customer service bot powered by ChatGPT, but it's looks like a real person. It's kind of like an avatar. So that's kind of interesting. And customers can pretty much check out a vehicle's, all the features about it. They can ask the Fiat Genius questions, and essentially, and potentially, they could even complete their purchase of buying the actual car from home in this kind of portal. So what's interesting is pretty much the common questions that people have about these cars are going to get pre-recorded, and they'll have a pre-recorded video answer from essentially a virtual product specialist that can answer your question. But for the more complex questions, those are referred to real humans who can pop into the quote-unquote metaverse showroom and answer those. So it's kind of it's like a glorified customer service bot in the metaverse or in 3D. I don't know what we're calling the metaverse nowadays. If you're doing this on Microsoft Teams, I feel like attaching metaverse just kind of is trying to hype it up. So I think if they don't know the answer, ChatGPT is also going to help them find the right info. So it's it's pretty much like pre-recorded questions, and then they are able to answer it. If they don't know that, it goes to a person. And if the person doesn't know that, it goes to ChatGPT. So, seems pretty funny to me. But anyways, essentially the experience is built to kind of mimic the way that a human salesperson would meet you at a dealership. And you would ask them questions, and then they'll say oh, let me show you. And then they'll walk you over and open the door and kind of show you around the car. So that's what they're trying to go off of. And I understand for a lot of people, this might be a great user experience. For me personally, if I'm going to buy a new car, I would just watch a bunch of YouTube videos about it. And I'm the kind of person that would be happy to just go to the Tesla website and purchase my car. And I guess if I have a friend that has the same one, that would be cool. But I'm less inclined to go to a dealership or want to talk to a person necessarily about all of the specifications. I would just go on YouTube, but I know everyone's different, and some people like to have that. So this might actually be a very useful thing that could help. If this was the experience you were looking for, you wanted that dealership experience, and you didn't want to leave your home, and you're like, well, Fiat and Kia do it, and no one else does. Maybe it'd help you buy a Fiat and Kia, a Fiat or a Kia. So pretty interesting. I think what's interesting is that these kind of interactions are inevitably going to be available inside cars themselves. So right now you're on Microsoft Teams, and you're asking questions and stuff. But what if you were like actually inside the car, and rather than having to call the dealership that sold you a car and be like, hey, how do I open like the hatch, or which side is like the gas on, or I don't know. I guess those are kind of dumb questions, but you get the idea. Rather than looking through the manual. I remember growing up, like a light was out or something was dinging in our new Honda Odyssey. My mom pulls out like the Honda Odyssey manual from the glove box and is flipping through it, trying to figure out why the car alarm is going off or what to do when certain things happen. So rather than having to do that, and you're going to be eventually probably able to just access this quote unquote metaverse store from right inside the car, right? All the new cars have big screens on them. You're going to be able to jump on the metaverse store and get answers to all your questions about the car, which in my opinion, that is actually pretty useful. If you can get away from ever having to look through a car manual ever again, I'm all on board for any solutions to that. So something interesting. Kia Germany also unveiled their metaverse store, which runs on Engage, which is a metaverse platform for businesses. So customers can access that on a mobile device or a computer, but the best experiences on a VR headset. So that's kind of interesting because Kia's going a little bit more immersive, right? We saw Fiat, who was just like, nah, just use like Microsoft Teams. Now Kia's like, nope, you're going to want a headset, or I guess if you want, some other sort of device. But essentially you're going to have, for that version, you'll have like a digital avatar, and then you can walk through a virtual showroom and interact with the vehicle. And I mean, to be honest, that is kind of a useful use case of VR and like being able to walk around stuff. I mean, I know on computers you kind of do the thing where you just like click around and like a 3D object. So they'll probably have that. And yeah, you get all the questions to anything you want to know about the vehicle. And I guess the idea is just to make it a little bit more interactive. So, I mean, I think in reality, a lot of shoppers are likely just going to want to see the new car in person before committing to buy it. But, we see people like Tesla who really have thrived off the model of exclusively having a website where you can look at it, see it, and buy it. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see exactly what happens in the industry, and if people start buying all their cars on the metaverse. If you are looking for an innovative and creative community of people using ChatGPT, you need to join our ChatGPT creators community. I'll drop a link in the description to this podcast. We'd love to see you there, where we share tips and tricks of what is working in ChatGPT. It's a lot easier than a podcast, as you can see screenshots, you can share and comment on things that are currently working. So if this sounds interesting to you, check out the link in the comment. We'd love to have you in the community. Thank you for tuning in to the AI Applied podcast. Make sure to rate this wherever you listen to your podcasts, and have a fantastic rest of your day.